everyone, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Remember, if you haven't already, like and subscribe on the channel. If you are new, we're going to keep up with this weekly content now. We've been a bit sloppy the past, I'd say, a month. We did a video back late March, now we're in the first week of May. So it's been a bit over a month now. We haven't done a video. Coming back, we're coming strong. We're going to do weekly videos, pumping them out, talking about everything that's going on in boxing. Obviously, no, we haven't done this in a while, so there's quite a lot to talk about. Starting off with Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Obviously, biggest fight in combat sports, I suppose. Bigger than AJ Fury, bigger than Crawford Canelo, in my personal opinion anyway. Quite a lot of people have come up to me and said, Roman, you need to talk about MMA, you need to talk about the UFC more. And so, and I do need to. I've got a really keen interest on here. I don't know if you can see. I've got Shogun versus Jones poster. And I've got one down here as well, you can't see. I'm really into my MMA. A lot more than you'd think. So obviously on this channel I talk about boxing a lot. But I've got a big interest in all combat sports. Muay Thai, obviously Pride, One, all these fighting championships. But obviously the UFC. UFC is the biggest in the game. Biggest fight in the game is Jones Aspinall. And like I said, yeah, people have come up to me saying, you need to talk about this. But what is there to talk about? It's a difficult one. Jon Jones has been in the news a lot recently, the past few weeks, because seemingly, obviously these are unconfirmed reports, and I believe the reports initially came from the mouth of Chael Sonnen. So, and he says he has insiders. I don't know, but yeah, he's saying. I think initially Chael Sonnen said that Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall was done. It was signed. It was ready. And then a day later, he was like, "No, not happening anymore. What instead's going to happen is Jon Jones is not going to fight Tom Aspinall for the undisputed heavyweight title, but Tom Aspinall is going to fight Cyril Gane, which makes no sense in the slightest. Cyril Gane, looking here, he's got a fight streak of 3 wins and 2 losses. No, looking here, Cyril Gane has actually got a record of 2 wins and 3 losses. He lost to Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou in these 5 fights, which, put it into perspective, Francis Ngannou hasn't fought in the UFC since 2023. So, quite a while ago, and that's in his last 5. To be honest with you, I expect Tom Aspinall to walk right through him. He's too well-rounded for Cyril Gane. I mean, yeah, there's not a lot going on there, to be honest. It's a strange fight to make. I don't know if the UFC will make it, because it just don't, to me personally and to the fans, it doesn't make no sense. I mean, people just, myself included, we all just expect Tom Aspinall to walk right through him. It makes no sense at all. But we'll leave that there. As far as other fights go in UFC, not a lot going on in the slightest. I mean, Islam's next fight hasn't been announced. Duplessis' next fight hasn't been announced. The main event for UFC 317, which isn't even that far away now, it hasn't even been announced. Like, what's going on? No one knows what's going on. Come on, Dana. Dana, you won't be watching this, but if you are, sort yourself out, man. You need to sort these fights out. The whole UFC, I'm gonna say it. Like, not a lot of people want to admit it, but the UFC currently is in shambles. You've got Pereira saying he doesn't want to fight anymore. You've got Islam and Topuria, fight not announced. You're not getting any fights announced. We're not getting Jon Jones ducking Tom Aspinall. We're not getting anything. The UFC is dead. I'm sat here on my sofa now, editing my video, and I've just clocked. I'm watching some fight news and whatnot on the TV here whilst I'm editing. What? I didn't know Belal Muhammad was fighting this weekend. I didn't even know there was a championship fight on this weekend. What? What's going on, man? Dana, sort your promotion out. I didn't know this was happening. Like, I'm a huge UFC fan, but it's dead. I'd rather just go watch one fighting championship and watch fucking Liam Harrison fight, or some fights where it's just gonna be exciting. We've not had no thrilling UFC fights in a while, in my personal opinion. Anyway, I've not seen anything that's worth watching. But we'll leave that there. We'll move on to obviously boxing. biggest fight in boxing the other week. Biggest fight, obviously, this year so far. Obviously, there's a bigger one. We'll talk about that later. But biggest fight of the year so far, Eubank versus Ben. I'll put my hands up. If you follow me on any of my other socials, you'll see on that night, I went through predicting how I thought the fights were going to go. I was right with the entire card. And then we got to the main event. I said Conor Ben would win by knockout inside 6 rounds. And you know what? I put my hands up. I was wrong. I was wrong. You know, I'm man enough to admit that. It were a close fight. I had Conor Ben up around. Was that? I don't know. Well, it was too close to call. I mean, Eubank Jr. got the win, which I didn't expect. I didn't really expect it, but it was a better fighter, wasn't he? I mean, when push came to shove, he did appear to be the better fighter, at least in that fight. I mean, is Chris Eubank Jr. a better fighter than Conor Ben? In my opinion, I don't know. Conor Ben the thing is, you got to remember, Conor Ben went up 2 weight divisions to take that fight. And Chris Eubank Jr. was fighting at his weight division and he struggled to make that weight. I don't know. It is a difficult one to call. He was the better man on the night. Is he a better man than Conor Ben at fighting usually? The fight would say yeah, but in my personal opinion, in my heart, I just don't know. I just don't know. Looking at other fights recently, Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, they both had their respective fights on last Friday in Times Square, and it was the worst show I have ever stayed up to watch. I stayed up in my room to watch it on DAZN. I paid for this fight on DAZN. Terrible. Terrible, terrible fight. I wish I hadn't. So boring. Oh, there wasn't a single fight on the card where you were like, oh my god, that's amazing. Because it was terrible. It was a terrible card. The card was terrible. There wasn't a single good fight on the card. I mean, Ryan Garcia dropped. Devin Haney ran around the ring for 12 rounds. 10 rounds. Was it 10 rounds? He ran around the ring for 10 rounds. It was the biggest waste of time ever. There is no money in a rematch. There is no money in either of them having big name fights because no one's going to watch them. Because now in everyone's books, everyone just wrote them off. I wrote them off. The boring fighters. Devin Haney was always boring. But I mean, Ryan Garcia, I didn't expect that from him. You know, now is the debate. Is it because he's off the steroids? Who knows? Of Osterine? Who knows? But I don't know. It's just boring, wasn't it? Plus he's lost now. That's a loss on his record. Another loss. So, just boring. You know what I'd quite like to watch though? Controversial one. There is a fighter in Devin Haney's weight division. Devin Haney won his fight. It was a boring fight, but there's an exciting fighter in Devin Haney's weight division who I think he should fight, and I think it'd make millions. Conor Ben versus Devin Haney. That would be a good fight, because in this instance, Conor Ben wouldn't have to skyrocket up and put on all the weight. He could fight at his natural weight, and I think he'd win it. I have Conor Ben beating Devin Haney. And I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with that, but it's my personal opinion. And then we'll move on to the next fight of that weekend, which was the Canelo versus Skull card. Again, I followed that card. And again, boring. The Badal Jack fight, boring. The Martin Bakole fight, really boring. And the Canelo fight, I never thought I'd say it. You see me right now? Canelo's one of my favourite fighters. I'm wearing the Canelo merch. Boring. It was so boring. I don't know what the most boring fight of the night was. Of the weekend was, sorry. I'd probably say the Devin Haney fight. But the Canelo fight was boring. Skull did not want to win. And I saw Amir Khan saying, yeah, I think Skull won. What? Hell no. I think it's the worst fight I've seen in a pretty long time. And then as soon as Canelo won, throwing Crawford in the ring. Oh, and Turkey Al-Sheikh, it is time to announce Crawford versus Canelo. I was like, what? Like, it's the fight everyone wants. Let's face it, it's the fight everyone wants. And I think Canelo wins. I do think Canelo wins. Well, it was just a boring fight, wasn't it? It was a boring weekend. If anything, it's just put a lot of people off boxing, which is sad to see, because I think boxing is the best combat sport out of all of them. Out of wrestling, out of Muay Thai, out of MMA. I think boxing's the best, because when you box, it's just, a lot of people say it's not technical, but it is. It's probably the most technical out of a lot, because you're honing so many different skills, but it's fine motor skills, like, you know, how you move your hands, how you move your feet, how you dodge, how you weave, how you're moving. You know, it's a difficult one. I think it's the best combat sport, but that weekend was a shambles, and it's going to put a lot of people off, which is really sad to see. Next fight of the weekend, or next card of the weekend, Inouye fought. I thought that was boring, though, to be fair. Like, I know he got the knockout win, but it was boring, wasn't it? He got dropped in round 2, which I knew he would anyway. He got dropped in his last fight against TJ Dehaney. And I don't know. I think he's struggled in featherweight. I mean, who's he going to fight in featherweight? Ray Ford and Nick Ball. Both of them beat him. Nick Ball definitely beats him. I think Nick Ball knocks him out. I mean, he's too open, right? You know, when he fights, when he throws a punch, he's like, because he's so small and you think he's so quick. You think when he's throwing a punch, it's instantly coming back. He's not. So he's getting caught with them hooks, and he's getting caught with them jabs. And I think Nick Ball's too technical. He gets up close with Nick Ball. Nick Ball just go and just spark him. At least that's what I think anyway. But you know, I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be an expert. I'm just a young lad with a very keen interest for boxing who wants to be an expert. You know what I mean? But yeah, he's struggling featherweight. And I guess that's kind of it. The past month, boxing's been boring. It's not, but I mean, the Eubank Jr. fight was really good, and the card was really good actually. In hindsight, Anthony Yarde was amazing, and so was all the other fighters. It were a really, really good card, but the fights of the weekend, I think, let us down a lot as boxing pundits and boxing fans. But hopefully the next fight can bring us back. Obviously, announced last week was Alexander Usyk. I am very feel versus Daniel Dubois. I think controversial. I think Dubois knocks him out. I think Dubois knocks him out inside 4 rounds. That's what I would have anyway. If I were a betting man, I'd put Daniel Dubois to knock him out inside 4 or 6 rounds, which I know is a bit of a controversy. Don't shoot the messenger. But luckily, wait to hear this, I got tickets for that fight. Get up! I got tickets. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to go watch that fight. That fight is going to be so much fun. The atmosphere is going to be incredible. Wembley Stadium. I'm in awe. Like, big shout out to my dad, Tony Briley. Big shout out. He got me and him tickets to go, and I'm really, really excited. So thank you, Dad. It's going to be a really good day, really good night of boxing. I'm looking forward to seeing who's on the undercard. Reports are going round, at least to my knowledge, Joseph Parker, maybe, versus Dillian White, maybe, or Hrgovic, maybe. I think Dillian White would be a smart move. I mean, the only losses on Joseph Parker's record, which he hasn't corrected, are Joe Joyce, Dillian White, Anthony Joshua. Joe Joyce, he won't fight Joe Joyce, and if he did, I'd be really surprised. Dillian White, I think he beats Dillian White. Anthony Joshua, I think he beats Anthony Joshua. He beats all 3, doesn't he? But Joe Joyce, I don't think he'll fight Joe Joyce. I don't even know who Joe Joyce fights now. I mean, he's just not the fighter he used to be, is he? It's sad to see. But yeah, that'd be a good fight. Dillian White versus Joseph Parker on that undercard. Don't know who else will fight on the undercard though, because Hamza Shiraz won't be fighting on it. Nick Ball, I doubt he'll be fighting on it. I might be wrong though. Nick Ball might fight on it, but I don't know about Joseph Parker. Not Joseph Parker. I don't know about Hamza Shiraz. I'm trying to think of big names in the Queensberry stables who do not have fights coming up, because obviously Hamza Shiraz is fighting Edgar Berlanga. I don't know who else there is. from Queensbury. Tyson Fury won't fight. Tyson Fury's retired, and if he is going to fight, he'll fight for a big money fight. He won't fight on an Alexander Usyk undercard. Zhang, I could see Zhang fighting. I'd like to see Zhang. In fact, actually, here's a good one: Zhilei Zhang versus Hrgovic. I think that's a good fight. That'd be a good fight for the undercard. Justice Hooney, he's fighting now. He's not with Queensbury, is he? He's with Matchroom, and he's fighting anyway against Fabio Wardley. Fabio Wardley can't fight. Fraser Clark, I'd love to see Fraser Clark on the undercard, but he's with Boxer. Manchester, everyone's coming together now. You know what? It's interesting times. It'll be interesting to see us on the undercard. David Adelaide, that'd be a good one to have on the undercard versus TKV to right that wrong, that controversy from the last fight. But yeah, big shout out to my dad Tony. I'm so excited to go down to London to watch it. I've only ever been to one boxing match in person. Technically, I've been to like amateur shows, but I've only ever been to one boxing match, and it was Josh Warrington versus Kiko Martinez at First Direct Arena in Leeds. That was a really good atmosphere, but that was like 3 or 4 years ago when I was like 13, 12, 13, 14, and I don't know. I guess I'm older now. I'll enjoy it more. I'm so excited. I'm really, really excited. But yeah, I'll be doing a lot of videos nearer the time. Big shout out Frank from Printmaster Boxing on eBay. I bought this top from him. He custom makes them, all the team shirts. I'll throw up a video now of the entire shirt. I'm ordering an Alexander Usyk shirt from him, for my dad. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be really cool. So big shout out him. But yeah, big shout out my dad for getting them tickets for the fight. It's going to be really exciting. It'll be a thrilling atmosphere. Like I said, I was going to say, I'm going to be doing a lot more videos on it nearer the time. So watch this space. I'll be getting my dad on the channel. And I'll be saying to his face, Alexander Usyk won't win. Because he's a big fan of Usyk. And I like Usyk too. But my money's on Dubois. I'm a Dubois fan. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. That's all I have to say today. Stay tuned. Like, I'm sorry for not throwing out as many videos as I should have been. But, you know, it's time to right that wrong. We're going to pump these videos out. We're going to get them coming. Let's go. Stay tuned, guys. Like and subscribe if you haven't. And let's get ready for the next video. Bang. Bang. Bang.